Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to HA After Dark. This is the middle of the night, my middle of the night crew, my after hours, after dark crew. And I want to thank you very much for watching. And just remember, if there are any trolls, just ignore them. Is the mic on? Let's see. How's the mic? Is this mic on? Can you hear? Can everyone hear? So let's go ahead and start, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if it sounds good. Good. Thank you. All right. So we have 71 people. We have 71 people in 1 minute, and it's the middle of the night. Let's get to it. Rosenstein's comments about Strzok's credibility issues are not good for the Russia probe. Simply report anyone you see who's a troll. And this channel doesn't really get trolled very well, but I mean, very much at all. But if you see anyone trying to just, insult or whatever, just go ahead and report them, and I'll just, take care of it also. But as always, I want to thank my friend Eric for, really being like the moderator here. And so thank you, Eric, as always, H526, Eric H526. We got 110 people in 2 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this. Rosenstein's comments about Strzok's credibility issues are not good for the Russia probe. This is a Daily Caller article. Peter Strzok's anti-Trump text messages have created credibility problems for the former FBI official that could potentially spoil evidence in the special counsel's Russia investigation. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein acknowledged in a congressional hearing Thursday, "You need to consider any issues that go to the credibility of the witness or the credibility of the evidence," Rosenstein said during a line of questioning with Texas Representative John Ratcliffe. He then added that if special counsel Robert Mueller were to rely upon a document that Peter Strzok produced, or a statement that he took, or to call him as a witness, he obviously would need to consider evidence that would tend to impeach his credibility. That's bureaucracy speak for they're up the creek without a paddle. And they have no evidence, and everyone who worked on the ridiculous, the fabrication of Russian hacking and a Russian meddling issue, and the exoneration of Clinton after she transferred top secret and special access program intelligence. The person like Strzok who wrote, we're going to stop Trump. We have to engage in an insurance policy called Trump Russia that we spoke about in Andrew McCabe's office. Trump voters are smelly. All right, let me go ahead and, I don't know, I messed around with this. So let me know if this is better, less of a echo. But you have to consider also that the Office of Professional Responsibility right now is investigating the actions of James Comey, of Peter Strzok. They've already investigated the actions of Andrew McCabe. And by the way, to my super chat people, thank you so much. You all just fuel this live stream. Otherwise, I would just upload, like I've done for 2 years. But thank you so much for your support. And if you have anything you want to talk about in particular, let me know. We got 170 people. It's 5 minutes in. He then added that his special counsel, Robert Mueller, quote, Yeah, so Radcliffe was pressing Rosenstein over Strzok's texts and his role in the collusion investigation, which was formally opened on July 31st, 2016. As Deputy Chief of Counterintelligence, Strzok was the top investigator for the FBI's investigation into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. This is Chuck Ross, brilliant reporter for the Daily Caller. I can't stand. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your kind words. I can't stand people who still say, well, we have to allow the investigation to continue. Really? What's Trump accused of, by the way? Well, he's not accused specifically of anything. Well, what are you investigating? Well, James Comey, James Clapper, and John Brennan stated there was no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Oh, so what are you investigating? Well, we're investigating possible collusion, but didn't you say there was no evidence? Well, you know the DNC was hacked. Okay. Where are the DNC servers? Oh, they're nowhere to be found. There's no evidence of anything. How do we know the DNC was hacked? Well, CrowdStrike said so. Well, are they certain? No. But CrowdStrike is the only company to look at the DNC servers, and it's an outsourced company. It's not the U.S. government. But of course, the DNC can go ahead and cheat Bernie Sanders, say they're a private entity, then as a private entity, go ahead and demand the U.S. government sanction Russia as a private entity. Why? Because the DHS and ODNI have intel reports that state they're moderately to highly confident. Moderately to highly confident, ladies and gentlemen. Moderately to highly confident. And so we got 213 people watching. It's the middle of the night. Radcliffe was pressing Rosenstein over Strzok's texts and his role in the collusion investigation, which was formally opened on July 31st, 2016. As Deputy Chief of Counterintelligence, Strzok was the top investigator on the FBI's investigation into possible collusion. Well, we know of definite collusion between Hillary Clinton and Russian intelligence because Christopher Steele apparently used all his wonderful contacts in Russian intelligence to create the Steele dossier. I apologize. My volume's all messed up. It keeps on dwindling so I'm always adjusting it. Lower your volume. It's going to lower in a second. This thing has a mind of its own. I apologize. But Strzok was part of the Flynn interview, and Michael Flynn was set up, and he was framed. And he never lied. They altered the 302s. The only thing they can get people on is lying to the FBI because there's no evidence. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton's like, oh, what's the C mean? Spinster. Thank you, Spinster, for your continued support. Possible collusion? WTF, is that anyway? Rosenstein is a weasel. Why back Rosenstein? What about the Tinder app between DOJ and FBI? Hello. Is this FBI want to size you up.com? I'm John Brennan. I want love. I've been looking for love in all the wrong places. I figured I'd get a little action by blaming Russia. It didn't work. I've been lonely. Clapper stole my girl, Sally Yates. Clapper will get the clapper eventually. He'll see. You'll see. You want to get with the real man? Choose me. Not Clapper with his giant forehead. An alien Martian homing beacon. At least I don't have a forehead like that. And I can tweet like no one's business. Your cacotocracy will not be approved by the American people. Yes, this is going to not happen. No one tweets better than me. My tweets are sexy. My tweets are sensual. Okay. Spinster, thank you. Yes. That's the thing. Well, as with everything, Democrats care about possible something, whereas the absolute something with Clinton is you know. Vance, H.A., back at it again. I'm at work enjoying a nice cup of lavender tea and enjoying the commentary as always. Let's get the super chat rolling. Vance, thank you. Thank you for watching at work. Vance, thank you so much for watching. And if you're working late at night, or if it's the morning in the UK, or anywhere in the world, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Vance. I appreciate that. Thank you, Spinster. The super chat is, I mean, without the super chat, I'd be, just uploading as always, yelling into the mic. Clinton, Mueller, Oklahoma. God bless you. Thank you. Idaho. New Zealand. Let me know where you're from. Where are you at, everybody? Texas. California. Oregon. Thank you so much. I'll get to the Rossborough / New York, Norway. Eric in Norway. Thank you always. Canada. Connecticut, Florida, Arizona, San Diego, Chicago, New York, North Carolina, Florida, Vegas, South Florida, Scotland. I have many great people from Scotland. Indiana, Hawaii, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, New York, Albania, Milwaukee, Victoria. Thank you so much. Miami, Arizona, California. So Middle Earth, yes. All right, so Michigan, thank you. Alabama, thank you. That's right, Don Drysdale. So we got 266 people watching. So if your root evidence is fairly called into question, everything that comes from that evidence is fairly called into question, said Radcliffe. Yes, Rosenstein agreed. In one message sent on October 8th, 2016, Strzok told Page, "We will stop Trump." What if they said, "We will stop Clinton"? What if Strzok said, "We will stop Clinton"? We have an insurance policy against Clinton. Clinton is a menace. Clinton's supporters are smelly. Javas Voss, thank you. Javas Voss, thank you. Javas Voss, thank you. Gabbers, thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you. Javas Voss, thank you. Gabbers, thank you. Wood chipper nationalism. Top shooter HE. What happened to the L1? Well, the L1 brothers are still there. Actually, the whole thing with the L1's just getting nuttier. Did they catch one of them trying to flee the country? If Lena Dunham, if anyone attacked me, I would legally and lawfully defend myself. And I think that anyone would would legal. That's awesome. Wood chipper nationalism is awesome. If anyone attacked me, I would legally and lawfully defend myself. First and foremost, always try the peaceful route. Obviously, if it's physical, you can't, try the peaceful route. But if it's verbal, you walk away from it. If it's verbal, you just walk away. It's not worth it. Not worth it. But wood chipper nationalism, thank you. The Yawans, I mean, the Yawan brothers, that issue is, I mean, the servers they were using is a huge, it's just as big potentially as the Clinton email server. And the funny thing is, why are they continually using outside servers? That's the question. When Congress wants to, when the Republicans and when Trump want to end this and get the indictments going and eventually indict Clinton, because they already, thank you, Australia, thank you, Albany, Western Australia, thank you. When Sessions eventually gets ready for the multiple subpoenas, Hi, Mr. President. How are you today? Oh, I'm doing fantastic. What are you wearing? You don't have to yell. I'm in the nude. Well, again, you don't have to get upset. I'm telling you how I feel. Because it's hot. What do you think? Well, we're going to go ahead. And we have multiple subpoenas. No, subpoena. We're going to subpoena documents. And if there's multiple millions of documents, subpoenas. Multiple subpoenas. Yes. Well, I don't know what you're hearing, because I'm not saying that. So I don't know what you're hearing in your head. So, Mr. President, I can't tell you what. No, subpoenas. Yes, multiple subpoenas. All up in their faces. Yes. Oh, you make them, go ahead and send the subpoenas. They have to read it. They have to look at it. They have to analyze it. Why, yes. Subpoena. That's the singular. Subpoenas is the plural. Multiple ones. Yes. Well, I don't know what they want to do with them. Yes. I can't tell you what they're going to do with them other than abide by the subpoenas that are being thrown their way. But yeah, well, multiple subpoenas have a way of getting things done. All right. Poo-poo out. I'll talk to you later. Bye. It's HA After Dark. There are going to be multiple subpoenas. I am Sylar. Thank you for watching, as always. And Judicial Watch is fantastic. Love Judicial Watch. Tom Fitton, when the indictments come down and when Hillary eventually gets charged, it'll be the biggest credit will go to Tom Fitton. But all right, so let's continue. So Peter Strzok also, according to C-SPAN. Oh, that's fantastic. Washington Post. Why are Republicans hiding Peter Strzok testimony? I love it. Strzok certainly doesn't act like someone with anything to hide. This is with all due respect to the author of the Washington Post. Really? Really? That's interesting. He didn't take the fifth or demand immunity because, number one, the Office of Professional Responsibility hasn't gone ahead and basically given him the axe bureaucratically. So this is an article saying, oh my goodness, Republicans are on the ropes. Why? Oh, because there's Peter Strzok. So nevertheless, Congress first threatened to subpoena him. Yeah, exactly. Of course, there's no question Strzok and Page used poor judgment in exchanging the messages. So, you know, they have to acknowledge that that's what the Clintons have done to American politics on the left. Acknowledge wrongdoing, corruption, illegal activity, and overt hatred. Acknowledge, internalize, accept, repent, and then continue with the corruption and lies. I am Sylar. Thank you. No, thank you. HA indictments are imminent. Can't wait to celebrate with you, Goodman. MAGA. Thank you. I am Sylar. And thank you always for your support of this channel and for, supporting for so long. I am Sylar. Thank you. Thank you. I am Sylar. Thank you. I am Sylar. But that's what, so they certainly used poor judgment, or was it overt hatred? Strzok text messaging habits, however imprudent, have nothing to do with the merits of the Mueller investigation. They have everything to do with the merits of the Mueller investigation because they hated Trump. Hillary Clinton blames everything in the world for her loss, every single thing in the world for her loss. And could you imagine if you had the 10 FBI agents already that we know, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, Sally Moyer, Kevin Kleinsmith, FBI agent 1, FBI agent. Then there's 2 other anonymous ones. That's 9 right there. Could you imagine if you had 9 FBI agents who acted and then their text messages and their behavior was anti-Clinton? Could you imagine? And then there was an investigation into why she purchased the Steele dossier about collusion with Russia. So she went ahead, if they indicted her, and they investigated for collusion with Russia. Could you imagine? Even the Washington Post. Let's see this. What hiding? Right. So what are the Republicans hiding? Strzok text message habits, however imprudent, have nothing to do with the merits of the Mueller probe. Where is the evidence? What did Trump or anyone around Trump do? Nothing. That's why I can't stand. So we have to go ahead and abide by the assessment of the CIA and the FBI and the NSA, run by Clapper and Brennan and Comey. All 3 are known liars. That it's not even a question. Like, there's USA Today articles, there's other articles. James Clapper lied under oath about the NSA spying on Americans, and Edward Snowden then exposes him. And John Brennan lied under oath about spying on Obama's Congress, Obama's Senate. And then James Comey is now being investigated by the Inspector General report and by the Office of Professional Responsibility at the FBI. He's going to get the same treatment as Andrew McCabe. I don't care how many countries he visits. He's also a very well-connected guy. Nobody is deceived by Strzok or Comey or McCabe or Brennan or Clapper or Lisa Page or Sally Moyer or Kevin Kleinsmith or FBI Agent 1 and the 2 other FBI agents, or Sidney Blumenthal or Cody Shearer or Christopher Steele or Glenn Simpson or even BuzzFeed News, who's, by the way, being sued by people, pretty rich Russians, very wealthy Russians. And they're suing the DNC because they're getting sued for defamation. Want to know who else is getting sued for defamation? Oh, Fusion GPS, Peter Strzok. I'm sorry, not Peter Strzok. I believe Christopher Steele. What good does it do? Well, what good does it do to the 327 people watching in the middle of the night or in the daytime if you're in Europe or other parts of the world? What good does it do? What do you get? What do you get for lying and scheming and conspiring to help Clinton? What do you get? You have your affairs outed. The psychological profile of, thank you, Joseph. The psychological profile of an FBI agent, a career FBI agent like Peter Strzok, is somebody who has always wanted to, I guess, be in a position of authority. To, in Strzok's words, I can protect this country in more ways than one. We'll stop Trump. Peter Strzok, this is Wikipedia. He joined the FBI in the 1990s as an intelligence research specialist. And he was he moved his way up. So 20 plus years. The guy's been working for 20 years. Plus 20 years of this guy's life. Peter Strzok. I had to shop at a Walmart with a smelly Trumpers. And I said, we'll stop Clinton. And I said, there's an insurance policy regarding Clinton. We can't take the risk of her becoming president. So I spoke to Andrew McCabe's in his office about stopping Clinton. Oh, just joking. Not. That was about Trump. Notice how it's a little different when it sounds like I'm going up against Clinton. But the importance of that, ladies and gentlemen, is, like, I always use the analogy, and people are like, probably people, when I do the analogy, like, no, stop watching. This guy is boring. But I do the analogy of a football play. In football, automatic 10 people leave. In football, you keep pounding the ball. You keep pounding the ball if you have a good run team. Okay? Stupid coaches and stupid teams don't continue with what they're good at. So if you have a good coach, good team, and you're a good running back, great line, you pound the ball. Even if you're down by 14, yeah, sure, you got to throw, but you pound the ball, because one block, take it to the house, 80 yards. One block, you take it to the house. One person, one Strzok, one McCabe, one Comey, one Lisa Page, one Sally Moyer, one Kevin Kleinsmith, one FBI agent, one person at the FBI, one person at the DOJ, Bruce Ohr, Nellie Ohr, one person turns on Clinton, it's game over. Take it to the house. Pound the rock. Pat J. You keep pounding the ball, and the thing is, the Clinton defense has been on the field for 3 straight years. That's another thing. What's the use of a good running game? It keeps the defense on the field. And I would say most of their time was spent tweeting each other. It keeps the defense on the field. People think Trump in the beginning, Trump was on the defense. He's been on the offense for well over a year. And we got 364 people. It's the middle of the night. What I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that it looks like Sessions is slow. It looks like FBI Christopher Wray won't do anything. It even looks like Rod Rosenstein is, you know, an adversarial to all of this. He might be. He might very well be. Very likely is. But what Trump is doing is he's handing the ball to the New York field office of the FBI, the NYPD, the Little Rock, Arkansas FBI. He's handing the ball to DOJ and FBI officials who are patriots. And they're pounding, continuing. 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards. Oh, Strzok text will stop Trump. That's a 20-yard run. Andrew McCabe insurance policy. That's a 15-yard run. Oh, Sally Moyer and Agent 1. That's a 14, 14-yard run. You continue to have 13, 14-yard runs in football, you're going to win the game. A Sojourner. Strzok wasn't smart enough to buy a burn phone. And A Sojourner, you're 100% right, but the second the FBI found out that he had a burn phone or had a phone outside, they would say, hey, you know what? You know, you're off the team, you're off this, or we're going to find out. He also apparently, in one exchange with Rod Rosenstein, failed a polygraph test. So, A Sojourner, thank you so much for your continued support of this channel. But C-SPAN is a fantastic, beautiful publication or a media organization. C-SPAN is fantastic. It has documented the demise of our nation. C-SPAN is wonderful. We're going to get to C-SPAN right now. C-SPAN Strzok polygraph. The reason I'm talking in this very frightening manner is because C-SPAN is very scary in its documentation of our demise or our rebirth. There are two ways to look at this. Exactly, Mr. Akil Will. Rosenstein has 10,000 ways of saying if you. I hope it catches up to him big time. Exactly, it will, because the bureaucracy is not actually a great thing to hide under. So bureaucrats are like, I'm going to go hide in behind my post. No one can touch me behind my post. Well, when you watch C-SPAN, you realize that a lot of people, a lot of bureaucrats are never safe from bureaucracy. Let's go ahead and listen to how Peter Strzok apparently was out of scope of a polygraph. He didn't fail. He was simply out of scope. The thing went like this. They asked him, do you hate Trump? He said no.
And answering the question, I appreciate that, and with you both. Let's go back to something, though, that I asked you, that you and I had a conversation about a few months ago. And this was Mr. Strzok's issue. I asked you at the time, did he have his security clearance? You said that you would check. You would assume he did at that point.
This is awesome. That's why Representative Doug Collins of Georgia is the man. He did it. You know what? He's that wide receiver. You know what? He's like he's the guy that shows up in the Super Bowl and you're like, well, who's this guy? So Mr. Akil will thank you. But yeah, Rosenstein has 1,000 ways, 10,000 ways of saying F you, but you know what? Doug Collins is Representative Doug Collins of Georgia. If you're in Georgia, just ask Doug Collins, email him, please. If you're watching in Georgia, please say H.A. Goodman wants to ask you, email him on his thing, congressional email. Just say, please, next time you speak to anyone at Rosenstein, Ray in Congress, ask how Hillary Clinton transferred top secret and special access program intelligence from SCIFs, JWICs, and sensitive compartmented and SIPRNet. Once we find out how she transferred, it's game over. 99-yard Tony Dorsett Dallas Cowboy run. But Doug Collins is like one of the guys you see, like somebody that just shows up out of nowhere. Okay, Malcolm Butler basically giving Brady his, I don't know, whatever, 4th Super Bowl, I don't know, whatever. I'm not a hater, but I have enough of the Patriots, so I just have enough. So if you're from Boston, I thank you for watching and I love you, but I have enough. It is a hate. I am a hater. That's fine. I have enough of the Patriots. I just have enough. Anyway, Doug Collins is one of these people that comes out of nowhere in the Super Bowl and like wins MVP. He's like, what? So check it out. Oh, and then the best is like, I'm going to have to Rosenstein. Brady should have all the Super Bowls. They belong to him. The best is when, yeah, like his security clearance was taken, and Sessions like, hi, Strzok, how you doing? Why don't you try your key card? It don't work, does it? Because I snatched your security clearance. You ain't got no security clearance now, do you? I wonder why. Why, you want some? You want some static? Well, come on now. You got no security clearance. You can't even pass a polygraph. It goes like this. Okay. Some kind of dance move. Polygraph, you broke it. You broke the machine, Strocky. We needed a new machine. You broke the arm on the machine, Strocky Poo. You broke the arm on the polygraph. You broke it. Need a new dang polygraph. You didn't fail it. It was just out of scope.
It now appears that the security clearance has been revoked. The concern I have here is, again, process inside the Department of Justice on what happens when you have someone of his caliber, counterintelligence level. This is not a new recruit. This is somebody who's been around, who's had very sensitive information.
So now Rod Rosenstein has to. So Rod Rosenstein is like, he's expecting fastball. He's getting sliders. Because he doesn't know who Doug Collins is, and Doug Collins is speaking his language. If you speak a bureaucrat's language, they hate that. Bureaucrats want you to speak, want you to get angry. It's just like if your wife found lipstick on your collar. All right? Your wife finds lipstick on your collar. She's like, why is that lipstick on your collar? You're like, I appreciate your concern. It's an ongoing investigation. I cannot comment on FISA applications. It's classified. I wasn't there. James Comey and Loretta Lynch were there. I appreciate your concern. What do you mean you appreciate my concern? There's lipstick on your collar. Who are you seeing behind my back? I feel your pain. I appreciate your concern, and there's an ongoing investigation. So, and I can assure you we'll get to the bottom of the matter. Okay, that doesn't fly in real life. That don't fly. It doesn't fly. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. It's not going to be cool. Your wife's not going to be cool with that. Similarly, if you go to your wife's, your significant girlfriend or whatever, like, how come you have your ex on speed dial? And throughout the night and in early mornings, 500 text messages and speed dial everything, and she says to you, "It's classified, honey," or "I'm not the one doing the redacting." Like, what are you talking about? The best is when she's like, you're withholding information from us. And Sniffle's like, Sniffle. "I'm not the one doing the redacting. I'm not the one doing the redacting." Well, who is? Who's doing the redacting? Anybody we know? I don't do the redacting. I have 100,000 billion trillion people I'm looking. I'm a big person here. I'm a big man. I'm a big person here. Okay. So what about Peter Strzok? Peter Strzok is one of 100,000 billion people I'm looking at. I'm overseeing. But let's continue. Doug Collins.
Information. And on January 13th, 2016, an individual from the FBI's Washington field office emailed Mr. Strzok and other employees that their polygraphs were out of, I think it was out of scope. I asked you about that and asked you if he had been polygraphed. You didn't know at the time.
You broke the polygraph. It's broken. Strzok had so the best is, so C-SPAN doesn't say he failed the polygraph. C-SPAN says the polygraph was out of focus or scope. The scope was out of scope. Peter Strzok's polygraph was out of scope. Tattoo from Fantasy Island was not short. He was vertically challenged. Andre the Giant was not chubby. He was, at one point, horizontally challenged. Let's continue. Peter Strzok had a polygraph that was out of scope.
It said the polygraph raised flags. Now,
the polygraph raised flags.
Question about this would be, you didn't know about the polygraph at the time. We'll just assume now that it is out there you do. Would the topic of the extramarital affair have come up in that polygraph, or a possibility come up in that polygraph on Mr. Strzok?
You're getting nasty. Doug Collins goes right for the jugular, this guy. He's a Georgia Bulldog. He'll run the ball with Garrison Hurst. You remember, if you're old school, you know. Garrison Hurst? Yeah. Georgia Bulldog. That's right. He was very, very, very good. He has a very famous opening day run. He's a very famous opening day run for the Niners. He took it like 80 yards, 90 yards. So Doug Collins is going for the jugular. He's a Georgia Bulldog. He's going right for the... What about their affair and the polygraph and the affair cheating on wife Strzok? Huh? Right to the jugular. And what's Rosenstein going to do? It's not, see, Jim Jordan, Jim Jordan was great. He was fantastic, but he put his emotions on his sleeves. Bureaucrats love that. You get so angry, bro. I'll have to get back to you on that. And I appreciate, I'll feel your pain. I appreciate, but whatever. 10,000 FUs. But this is Doug Collins, and he is going for the jugular. He's a Georgia Bulldog.
Could have put it out of scope.
I do not know
either way.
I have no idea what would have been raised in any specific person's polygraph at this moment.
So, the FBI, you have to understand. You have to understand the beauty. To the HA After Dark people, you have to understand the beauty. The beauty is that Doug Collins, and this is part of a hearing that, there's maybe 13 people in the audience. It's everyone's tired. It's the third day or something. I'll put the C-SPAN link here. The C-SPAN link is right here. The polygraph was out of scope. The arm of the polygraph test flew off. It was on the ground. The violent shaking from Strzok's polygraph was indicative of it being out of scope. Whether he lied is another story. We don't know yet. One can only assume.
Could he have passed a polygraph given the text, and I'm putting this in context of the text that we see now before continuing in very sensitive areas such as the investigation, the Mueller investigation, again, the Hillary Clinton, but knowing the bias that we have seen, that we've commented on today, if those texts taken into account were on this polygraph, and could he have passed a polygraph if he, on his own ability, denying an affair with Lisa Page?
Well, Congressman, I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals, especially hypotheticals when, as I've said before, we have referred a number of individuals mentioned prominently in the report to our Office of Professional Responsibility.
Touchdown, Georgia Bulldogs! I think, what is it, Georgia Tech? That's their rival. That's just, so he got Christopher Wray to admit that Peter Strzok is being investigated right this second by the Office of Professional Responsibility. He's going to get the Andrew McCabe treatment, and that's going to be one of the cracks that leads to an eventual Clinton indictment. Think of the time. So Jeff Poisson, thank you. Jeff Poisson, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. Thank you so much, Jeff. Think of the time Sessions said that he would look into crimes regarding Clinton Foundation, Sanctuary Cities, Clinton Foundation, Uranium One. Then think Sessions, Huber, Horowitz, 40,000 sealed indictments. You're 100% right. I think Sessions is a patriot, and he's going to do something. He's slowly doing something. Why don't you just wait and enjoy it? Slow and strong. Trust me, Lindsey Graham. He's taking testosterone. I don't need it. Lindsey Graham's taking testosterone shots. I don't need those. You think I need the test? I don't need no test. What I got is natural. Called Elf Musk. I don't need testosterone shots because what I do is natural, slow and long, and just enjoy the ride. We got the Office of Professional Responsibility. We got a July 7th deadline. Oh, it's going to be long and slow. And then Clinton indictments. What's up? Poo-poo out. So I agree with you. I agree with you, Jeff. I agree with you 100%. I think that, I don't know about, they talk about like tens of thousands of indictments. I don't know. You probably just need 20 or 30 for Clinton. That's about it. It's all you need, really. Just, you know, it's all you need. I don't know about the tens of thousands of indictments. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to listen to this again.
It has nothing to do with me.
And that's fine, and that's why you're on record. And
everything has nothing to do with me. Nothing has to do with him.
Answering the question, and I appreciate that, and with you both. Let's go back to something, though, that I asked you, that you and I had a conversation about a few months ago. And this was Mr. Strzok's issue. I asked you at the time, did he have his security clearance? You said that you would check. You would assume he did at that point. It now appears that the security clearance has been revoked. The concern I have here is, again, process inside the Department of Justice on what happens when you have someone of his caliber, counterintelligence level. This is not a new recruit. This is somebody who's been around, who's had very sensitive information. And on January 13th, 2016, an individual from the FBI's Washington field office emailed Mr. Strzok and other employees that their polygraphs were I think it was out of scope. I asked you about that and asked you if he had been polygraphed. You didn't know at the time. It said the polygraph raised flags. Now, my question about this would be,
we're listening to the Georgia Bulldog, Doug Collins, who is throwing a slider and just a wicked block, whatever you want, analogy, sporting analogy, whatever. Rod Rosenstein doesn't even know what's happening right now. One of the few times he's not smirking or sniffling or whatever.
You didn't know about the polygraph at the time. We'll just assume now that it is out there you do. Would the topic of the extramarital affair have come up in that polygraph, or a possibility come up in that?
So now they're getting into like personal stuff. You know, like the guy is stooping his fellow FBI employee. They both hate Trump. Could you imagine if they were stooping and they hated Clinton? Oh my God, the Democrats would say, my God, they're having sexual relations. Jeff, odds are 20 or 30 of the 40,000 are Clinton. I mean, that would be fantastic. Rudy Giuliani said just in terms of the Clinton Foundation, there's 20 for the RICO and bribery. Just in terms of the Clinton Foundation. But let's continue. Doug Collins going for the jugular. He's going for the jugular. It just goes right into the fact Strzok was cheating. And so what's Rosenstein going to say, you know? And then FBI Director Wray wants no part of it. What do you think this guy's straight-laced as they come? You think he's going to talk about Strzok, you know, doing the wild thing with Lisa Page and stooping and, you know, they make Sodom and Gomorrah look like a Rainbow Bright Christmas special. They're not, no. So watch how Christopher Wray answers. He just says, they're being investigated. What do you want from me? They're going to go down like Andrew McCabe. What do you want from me?
That polygraph on Mr. Strzok, they could have put it out of scope.
I do not know that
either way.
I have no idea what would have been raised in any specific person's polygraph at this moment.
Could he have passed a polygraph, given the text, and I'm putting this in context of the text that we see now before continuing in very sensitive areas such as the investigation, the Mueller investigation, again, the Hillary Clinton, but knowing the bias that we have seen, that we've commented on today, if those texts taken into account were on this polygraph, and could he have passed a polygraph if he, you know, on his own ability, denying an affair with Lisa Page?
Again, Congressman Doug Collins goes for the jugular. He knows that's a sore spot. He knows there's no way for them to defend Strzok. So if you go ahead and you attack and you Jim Jordan, who's awesome, love Jim Jordan, think he's great. But if you say, why are you withholding evidence from us? Then, of course, Rosenstein can say, I'm not doing the redacting, sir. No, really? You're not doing the redacting. I thought that there's no big deal. I thought that, you know, Clinton emails were no big deal. What's the problem? Why is there so much classified intelligence? Why is there so much special access program and classified intelligence? You couldn't even find a jury. And then Michael Horowitz of the IG said, well, we found a lot of bias. In fact, all of it was bias, but the prosecutorial decisions, we couldn't find documentary evidence or testimonial evidence. Gee, I wonder why. Because everybody giving the prosecutors information was withholding information. Because guess what? There was so much classified and top secret intelligence, they didn't even bother to find out how it was transferred. So let's continue. Let's continue.
Well, Congressman, I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals, especially hypotheticals when, as I've said before, we have referred a number of individuals mentioned prominently in the report to our Office of Professional Responsibility.
80-yard touchdown, Georgia Bulldogs. 80-yard touchdown. 2 minutes and 2 seconds into this.
That's fine, and that's why you're on record here in question. And with you about a few months, you said revoked. What happens when you have someone of his caliber, counterintelligence from the FBI's Washington field office, emailed Mr. Goodman, and that's why you're on record here and answering the question with you both. Let's go back to something, though, that I asked you that you...
So let's just hear that again.
You and I had a conversation about a few months ago. And this was Mr. Strzok's issue. I asked you at the time, did he have his security clearance? You said that you would check. You would assume he did at that point. It now appears that the security clearance has been revoked. The concern I have here is, again, process inside the Department of Justice on what happens when you have someone of his caliber, counterintelligence level. This is not a new recruit. This is somebody who's been around, who's had very sensitive information. And on January 13th, 2016, an individual from the FBI's Washington field office emailed Mr. Strzok and other employees that their polygraphs were out of, I think it was out of scope.
The polygraphs were out of scope. The polygraph arm was thrown off. But we don't know if they were lying.
I asked you about that and asked you if he had been polygraphed. You didn't know at the time. It said the polygraph raised flags. Now, my question about this would be, you didn't know about the polygraph at the time. We'll just assume now that it is out there you do. Would the topic of the extramarital affair have come up in that polygraph, or a possibility come up in that polygraph on Mr. Strzok that could have put it out of scope?
I do not know that
Either way.
I have no idea what would have been raised in any specific person's polygraph at this moment.
Could he have passed a polygraph given the text? And I'm putting this in context of the text that we see now before continuing in very sensitive areas such as the investigation, the Mueller investigation, again, the Hillary Clinton, but knowing the bias that we have seen that we've commented on today, if those texts taken into account were on this polygraph, and could he have passed a polygraph if he, on his own ability, denying an affair with Lisa Page?
Well, Congressman, I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals, especially hypotheticals when, as I've said before, we have referred a number of individuals mentioned prominently in the report to our Office of Professional Responsibility for the appropriate disciplinary process. And my commitment to doing things by the book includes not, as FBI director, commenting on them while they're ongoing.
Okay.
A number of individuals mentioned prominently in the Inspector General report. A.J. Green, 80-yard touchdown pass. Georgia Bulldogs win the game. So you have a situation where Christopher Wray just told you that a number of individuals have been referred to the Office of Professional Responsibility. A number of individuals who were prominently named in the Inspector General report, and who has been more prominently named than James Comey and Peter Strzok. And Once the Office of Professional Responsibility treats them the way that Andrew McCabe was treated, you have to understand that then the dominoes fall politically and in terms of a bureaucratic sense. Right now, people think they're above the law because there hasn't. The only person right now who is really, 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 really the only person right now who is really feeling the pain is Andrew McCabe. I mean, yeah. Well, because he was already compromised. But everyone else, if you get, and a number of other individuals, what, like Sally Moyer, like Kevin Kleinsmith, like FBI Agent 1, like Lisa Page. And you got to understand something. I mean, this is a huge issue. You don't need necessarily these people to be indicted or charged with crimes. If you hit them in the pocketbook, you hit them in the prestige factor. People join the FBI also for prestige. Nobody, once you go ahead and you start saying, okay, well, the Office of Professional Responsibility has stated you're going to lose your pension, you're going to go ahead, you've done this, and that wrong. The IG then can refer criminal charges the way they did to Andrew McCabe. And then once James Comey is outed as having sent classified intelligence, it's game over. James Comey's going to flip on Clinton and sing. Andrew McCabe's going to flip and sing on Clinton. They're all going to flip and sing on Clinton. Hillary Clinton's greatest enemy at this point, right this second, is Peter Strzok, James Comey, and McCabe. 3 greatest enemies. And you could throw in all the other no-names, or at least the anonymous people at the FBI. Heck, Lisa Page could be the person that does Hillary Clinton in terms of information. Their lives, ladies and gentlemen, have been ruined because of their corrupt behavior. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call it an evening. I want to thank the super chat. And I want to thank you all. And remember that this is a process that's speeding up, but it's still slow. And it's a process that relies on bureaucracy to undermine the bureaucratic attempt at thrusting us into a new Cold War to save Hillary from her $1.2 billion debacle. And from a bureaucratic sense, James Comey used bureaucracy to save Clinton, and he'll use bureaucracy once it's turned against him to undermine Clinton. Clinton will eventually get indicted. It's just a matter of when and how. If it's not the Espionage Act, RICO laws, other issues to campaign finance, it's just a matter of when or how. The corruption is not sustainable. So I keep saying that, and I've written about that in the Daily Caller and a whole bunch of other places. Vance. HA, say hi to Lynn. She's listening in with me. Hello, Lynn. Thank you, Vance and Lynn. Thank you, Vance and Lynn. Thank you so much, Lynn, for listening. Thank you, Vance. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And I want to just thank you This week is going to be a very, very interesting week. And you can rest assured Trump is going to tweet about Strzok and Page and Comey. And it's going to be fantastic. Share this segment everywhere. It explains exactly, from a bureaucratic sense, why Clinton will eventually get indicted. Thank you so much for listening. Hit subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel. To my super chat, I just want to thank you so much. And you definitely provide the incentive to keep on doing these live streams. And God bless. Thank you so much. This week's going to be an awesome week. Thank you very, very much again. Hit subscribe.